Thank you. I am going to read the list of all the members that have graciously attended this evening for this fine night. And please hold your applause until all of them have been mentioned. Thank you very much. We have Barb Hannum, representing her father, Arnold Anderson. Jim Carman. Audrey Powlis Bomberry, representing Ross Powlis and Gaylord Powlis. Rick Mannon. Paul Bartle. John Howe. Pierrette Bear, representing Ted Bear. Rod Davidson. David Schufelt. Shannon Fleet, representing Jimmy Wilkes. Wayne Osborne. Peter Ham. Gail Powlis, also representing Ross Powlis and Gaylord. Sandy Grattan, representing Dan. Sharon Grattan, representing Chris Grattan. Danny Grattan, also representing himself. Attaboy, Dan. Your mom's just making sure you behave. Peter Bartle, Ron Burkett, Aaron Carpenter, Jocelyn J., Doug Hunt, representing Brian Kelly. Neil Young, all right. Paul Wilson, Christian Jameson, representing Tom Longboat. Kathy Mitchell, representing Paul Mitchell. Rick Sullivan, representing Kevin Sullivan. Roy Kurtz, and Jay Wells. Could we have a hand for all those folks, please? And a couple names on here. Come on, Woody, you had to get out there and get your name on the list. Patty Woodburn and David Hearn. We'd like to thank Justin Wilson for piping everybody in. I think he did a great job. Thank you, Justin. Are there any other members of the hall that were not mentioned? I apologize to David and Patty. I didn't have their names on the list, or I definitely would have read them. Now for the formal part. I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight. My name is Ross Enslev. I'm doing this, I don't know how many times. It's been more than once, I know that. And I'm still waiting for the first check to come. I think Canada Post is holding on to it because they're thinking about maybe not delivering this week. But we'll see. In all seriousness, we acknowledge the rich history of this land, which includes the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. Today, there are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples who live or work in the city. The intent of this acknowledgement is to recognize our responsibility to use and take care of these lands responsibly and respectfully, while remembering the generations past and considering the generations yet to come. We respect and seek to continue and promote the long-standing relationships with this area's First Nations, the Six Nations of the Grand Rivers First Nation, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and the Indigenous peoples who reside within the city of Brantford. I'd now like us to have a moment of silence to recognize those who have passed away since our last ceremony. Beverly Beaver, who was inducted in 1995 for softball, and she was also a great hockey player. And Alan Schoaf, a member of the 1970 Brantford Braves junior baseball team that won the OBA championship. And Alan was inducted in 2002. Thank you. I would like to invite Teresa Percival, representing MP Larry Brock, to the podium to bring greetings.
Thank you very much, Ross. Good evening, everyone. As Ross has indicated, unfortunately, MP Larry Brock was not able to be here tonight. He does send his regrets. He is in Ottawa as Parliament is in session. But I'm very happy to be here tonight on his behalf to offer congratulations and to celebrate this remarkable group of individuals who are being inducted into our Sports Hall of Recognition. To each inductee, you have made a lasting impression as an athlete or a sports builder, leaving behind a legacy for future generations who will benefit from your passion, your commitment, and your sportsmanship. You have inspired countless athletes, young athletes, to work hard and pursue their dreams. You make our community so proud, and we thank you sincerely for all that you have done and continue to do. Every person on the list tonight is very well known and recognizable. And I wish I had a personal story for every one of you, but I do just want to take a moment and say some personal words to acknowledge Scott Rex on a personal note. So many years ago, the MP office, we hosted an event called Hockey Night in Brantford. And I was one of the main organizers of the event, but I knew nothing about hockey. My kids were in gymnastics and baseball. And somebody said to me, "You need to call Scott Rex." And I said, "Okay, I'll call Scott Rex." So Scott came on board on our committee, and he was the person that was in charge of getting players. And we did have a lot of NHL players, but one of the things that Scott was insistent about and felt that it was really important to do was to bring in our up-and-coming young players so that they had an opportunity to be on the ice with the professionals. So I just want to say thank you, Scott, for attending all the 7 a.m. meetings, for making sure that our hometown kids had the experience of being on the ice with Adam Henrique, Brandon Montour, Zach Dalpe, and many other notable players. So I'm sure that all of the athletes being recognized here tonight also have the same mentality or the inspiration that Scott had to make sure that our young people were included and that they were inspired to reach their dreams. So congratulations again to all the inductees. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight to honor you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Teresa. I'd like to invite MPP Will Bouma to the podium to bring greetings.
Thanks, Ross. And thanks for just handing off the mic, because I know between me and the mayors, we just go up and down and up and down. And Teresa, I appreciate that. So good evening, everyone. It's great to be here at the Brantford and Area Sports Hall of Fame recognition and induction ceremony alongside the inductees and their families, members of the Sports Hall Committee, the organizers and volunteers, City of Brantford staff especially, and Mayors Davis and Bailey and the other dignitaries and councillors, to recognize those local athletes who have achieved the highest standards of excellence in their chosen sport, and to also recognize those in supporting roles whose contributions have been significant, especially parents. Sport has an incredible impact on the lives of people across our province, and right here in the community of Brantford and the county of Brant and Six Nations of the Grand River and the surrounding region. Sport is a force for good. It builds confidence, leadership skills. It gives us a chance to lead healthy, active lifestyles, strengthens our communities, and creates lasting friendships. There are also so many benefits, and our community is working to build a better Ontario through sport. I want to send everyone best wishes for today's induction ceremony and for the carrying on this recognition tradition and for showcasing the community's rich sport history. You are in great company. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Will. I'd like to invite Mayor Kevin Davis to the podium to bring greetings from the City of Brantford and to acknowledge any councillors.
Thank you, Ross. Very honored to be here tonight with a full contingent from the City of Brantford, including, you can stand up when I call your name, Councillor McCreary, Councillor Carpenter, and also our CAO, Michael Bradley. A great team at City Hall dedicated to improving what is most important about our community, one of the most important aspects of our community, and that, of course, is sport and community involvement, and how much sport is interwoven through so much of what Brantford's about. You know, I think of the last day I had, and I just came for a finance committee meeting where we were talking about improvements to the Arnold Anderson Stadium and the Civic Center. Last night, yesterday, we were looking at potential lease with the Bulldogs, and that's pretty much a large part of every day I have, because sport is such a critical part of our community. And thus, we should also be recognizing and celebrating those who exceed and excel in our community and who devote a large portion of their efforts to either building sport or showing the rest of us just how well they can be in sport, making our community proud, making their organizations and their sport proud as well. So for that reason, I'm very honored to be here, and I congratulate all the inductees for everything that you've had to do to get to this level. And having had 2 daughters involved in competitive swimming, I fully appreciate and understand that. And I know that probably you're not supposed to say much about individual inductees, but I really do want to say one thing about one of the inductees, Brian Smiley. I think he's gone over and above, and his reporting on the Bulldogs has been absolutely phenomenal. I watched for all of his reports. I think it's just absolutely great. And thank you, Brian, for helping introduce the team and keeping it relevant to our community. And as the previous president of the Brantford Aquatic Club, after which I was followed and greatly eclipsed, gladly so, by Suzanne Paul. And Suzanne, very great to see that you're being honored tonight. It's incredible what Suzanne has done for swimming in our community and to swimming across our province and across our country. It's absolutely phenomenal. I'm glad to see you're being recognized. So to the rest of the inductees, thank you for everything you've done and have done, and congratulations to you and the honors that you're receiving tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. I'd like to invite Mayor David Bailey to the podium to bring greetings from the County of Brant and acknowledge any councillors.
Well, thank you, and thank you for inviting me here tonight. With me, I have Councillor Jennifer Kyle, and I also have Dave Levesque, who keeps following me around. He's like a councillor, sort of. He just keeps coming around, and I can't get rid of him. And Dave Levesque, if you'd like to stand up. Oh. Anyway, I have Councillor Kyle with me tonight, and I do have Dave Levesque with me tonight. I'm not sure why, but he's just always sort of with me. I feel very blessed to be here too. I'm not really athletic, really, but I know a lot of the people that we're honoring here tonight and their families. I have a very close tie to Arnold Anderson and Jean Anderson and the Andersons through a friend of mine, Bruno, who is a wonderful friend of mine. Not many people admit to that either, that they're friends of Bruno, but I am a friend of Bruno's. And also Paul Mitchell. Paul Mitchell and I, with Mary Stedman, got our Lifetime Achievement Awards from the Brantford Community Foundation the same day, and I feel a connection for Paul. So it's nice to see you here tonight, and other people too from the county. We have had through the years many representatives from the county inducted here, and there's going to be many more. We have a wonderful group of athletes, and not just athletes, but builders, people that support financially because they can, because they want to. I'm very proud of the County of Brant and all they've done for athletes and for just for the community. They seem to be at every fundraiser. They seem to be speaking whenever they're asked to. So not only a night like this where they're being honored, but other nights when they're honoring other people, younger people, people that are looking up to them and want to be like them. So thank you for never saying no to those kids that look up to you, the little golfers and the little hockey players and the little people that are just trying to be like you. So thank you for doing that, and thank you for Doug Hunt. Where's Doug Hunt? For being everywhere. He's a little shorter tonight than usual, but another county kid that I went to high school with. So thank you all, and thank you for inviting me here, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Councillor Audrey Paulus-Bomberry to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. Audrey Paulus Bomray. I'm elected councillor from Six Nations, and I bring you greetings from Six Nations. I know many of you in here. I know many of you as athletes. I'm here representing our father, Ross Paulus, and Ross was, I guess, a famous lacrosse player across Canada. He did a lot of stuff for lacrosse. In fact, he reignited it in Brantford in the early 70s, and throughout the 70s he played. And the arena there was filled to the rafters. And you could hear the cheers and the roaring of the crowd from the streets. So it brought lacrosse back. Gaylord, my brother, our brother, continued it. And he was one of the first persons from the reserve to attend off the reserve. So he made the trip to Oshawa under Coach Jim Bishop. And they won the 3 Minto Cups and a lot of trophies and awards. In fact, Gaylord and Ross are the only 2 father and son players in the Hall of Fame in Vancouver as well as Calgary and Ontario. So they have done a lot, and lacrosse has really improved. So I would like to say one word about Bev Beaver. Bev was a former friend of mine who passed away recently. She was an outstanding pitcher and athlete. I played with her when I was about 16, and I couldn't find a better role model than her, and she's done a lot to improve the sport on the reserve of baseball. So we're thankful for them, and we're thankful for our friends here. We have a Victoria Day celebration every year, and we have out Mayor Bailey and Mayor Davis, Will Boma, and MPP, what's his name? Larry Brock. You know, you got so many of these guys out there, but they help give out bread and cheese, and they do it's like a PR tour for them. They come out and kiss babies and shake hands, and you think they're running for office or something. But we do appreciate having them out. And one of my dear friends I just reunited with tonight is Peter Ham. And he told me tonight that Gaylord was the person who got him involved in lacrosse. Jim Bishop hired him to promote the Brantford Warriors, and it's been uphill ever since. So it was great seeing him. So to all the inductees tonight, I want to say congratulations. We're all very proud of you. And to your families who supported you, were there for you, nurtured you, and were there when you cried, picked you up when you needed it. So we thank them as well. So everyone enjoy the rest of your evening, and again, best wishes.
Audrey forgot to say that she was in high school when I was, and she was quite an athlete herself. I'd like to invite Councillor Veronica King-Jameson to the podium to bring greetings from the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and acknowledge any councillors.
He asked me if he wanted to hold it. Ani, Nanabojo, hello, greetings. Mino Gizyup, Banik Dijnikaz, Gima, Anishinaabe Kwe. My name is Veronica King-Jameson. I'm not a counselor anymore. I stepped down on May 12th. I took on a new role in our community as the director of our operation for community service and infrastructure. So talking about sports, and that is one of the first things that I tackled, was trying to get equipment for our youth. I put in an application to the Blue Jays and we got funding for $60,000, so I'm happy. So, Chi, Ni, Michisagi, Dingiba, Mississaugas of the Credit is where I am from. We are the people of the Great Lakes. Makwa Dotum, Megazi Dotum, and Dow. I'm a Bear Clan on my mom's side, which means for protection and medicines, and the Eagle Clan on my dad's side, which represents leadership. Chief Claire Salt sends her regrets on behalf of the Mississaugas of the Credit. I am honored to welcome you today to the Mississaugas of the Credit territory. The present location of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation Reserve is located on Treaty Number 3, between the lakes as well as Brantford and other major cities surrounding MCFN. We want to say Chi Miigwech for taking time out of your life to be here to celebrate the Brantford and Area Supports Hall of Recognitions and explore all that it has to offer to the Brant County. MCFN is stewards the lands and water that makes up much of the greater Golden Horseshoe region. The Mississauga of the Credit First Nation continues to welcome and to host treaty lands to all Indigenous and non-Indigenous people who call this place home. Chi Miigwech to the Brantford Planning Committee, Economic Development, the Tourism, the Culture Initiative for their hard work in planning this event. I know what it takes to plan events. I've done a lot of planning in our community. I've just recently did the historical gathering. We had over 500 people there. So next year, yous are all invited. Would it be even better if you'd been my partner? No. But I do want to say that that's something that was my passion, is the youth and to get more involved with the sports. So that is one of the things that why we started the partnership with Blue Jays, is we're trying to get our kids back into the sports. Miigwech.
Thanks, Veronica. We are now going to get to the portion of the program where we celebrate our inductees. I'm supposed to remind you that you have between 2 to 5 minutes to speak, but I'm sure that that will not be an issue. First off, and I know he's just dying to get up here, I'd like to invite Danny Grattan to the podium, and Danny's going to speak about his friend Scott Rex. You can put it right there.
Thank you. Here, take this stuff too. I'm going to get confused here. Hello, good evening, everyone. First off, I want to congratulate the inductees. I know that you've got a lot of hard work and dedication and passion in your discipline, and you've earned it. Congratulations. I'm honored to share the stage and grateful for the opportunity tonight to speak on behalf of Scott. I do want to start off with a disclaimer first, and then a confession. The disclaimer is, some of my friends call me Mumbles. So if at any point through this conversation you think I'm mumbling, I'm mumbling. And the other confession is, I'm here for two reasons. I got two motives of being here tonight. One, obviously to honor Scott, all of the hard work, dedication, and commitment he's done in the community, and for what he's done, where he is, and also an opportunity for myself to say thank you for being a friend. It's not every day that you get to introduce your best friend over 50 years, especially when he's being honored as a builder in a sport he's loved since we were old enough to tie our own skates.
which for the record took him longer than it should have. And we can all see tonight, Scott took that same love and passion, that backyard passion and love for hockey, and he grew it into something much more, something much bigger. He became a player, a coach, a mentor, a leader, an organizer. And he's built a legacy that's touched more players, parents, volunteers, and coaches than one can even count. Probably a few disgruntled ones as well. I imagine a couple in the room. If there are, just refrain. And now he's being recognized not just for what he's built, but for how many lives he's helped shape along the way. Usually with a whistle in one hand, coffee in the other, and a grumpy smile. What makes Scott truly exceptional isn't just what he does, it's how he does it. He doesn't talk about leadership, he lives it. He doesn't ask for recognition, he earns it quietly and consistently. And in doing so, he's inspired an entire generation of players, coaches, and parents and friends. Most didn't even realize they were learning just by watching. I know I did. His passion isn't loud, it's steady. His work ethic doesn't shout, just never stops. And that's how you know it's real. We've been friends since we were kids. We've been through some good times, bad times, sad times, and probably 3, maybe 4 crazy times. That'd be about it. And we both had the best moms a kid could ask for. We grew up together, we played hockey together, we lived together, we've coached together. Scott did my speech for this evening. I'm doing Scott's. I started in Los Angeles with the Kings. Scott's now with the Los Angeles Kings. Scott was my best man, and I had to ruin the cycle, so I crashed his honeymoon. I don't know if Scott remembers Innsbruck, but it's a long story. Scott also coached me for 2 years in England, probably the 2 best years I had in my career. If there's any coaches, parents, or players or agents in here that ever thought Scott was a hard knock coach or intense, come and see me after. I played like 56 minutes a game with Joey Steffen. It became so crazy at one point, Scott was yelling at the bench, the referees, the defenseman pinch, and me and Joey were playing. I called him Bones at the time. So Rexy, you'd go Gratz, you'd go Bones. We have to shift back and forth, and he'd be yelling at the D, and then finally I just said to Bones, I said, Joe, when you're done, let me know. And then we let Scott bother. So Joey said, Gratz, go. So 4-minute shift, 3-minute shift. Some great memories, obviously. But somewhere along the journey, Scott became more than a best friend. He became a mentor, an anchor, a lighthouse, a North Star. Simultaneously, my 411, my 911, my 1-800, and my TSN Insider. I think Scott remembers the 3 o'clock call in the middle of the night. I'm in Peterborough in the backwoods. And I go, Scott, I'm in a pickle. I need an extraction. Scott was there an hour and a half in the car back home before sun was up. No questions asked. When I retired from hockey, I thought I understood what hard work was, what passion was, what dedication was, what it looked like. But then I watched Scott. I realized that everything I thought I knew, thought I was doing, Scott was already doing. And he was living it quietly every day. Scott's being honored as a builder tonight, and honestly, there's no better word. He's built teams, he's built programs, he's built opportunities. He's helped shape young athletes into young men. Scott didn't just build hockey, he built people. And that's the truest kind of builder there is. So tonight isn't just about an award, it's about honoring a legacy, a life spent lifting others, building a better game, and showing us what true passion, dedication, and commitment to a sport and a community is. Scott, you made this community better. You made the sport better. You made me better. And you've done it with humility, heart, and humor. From me and everyone else whose life you've touched without ever realizing it, thank you. And I'll end it here. If I could grant Scott one wish tonight, it would be this: to have the ability to see yourself through my eyes. You've earned every ounce of recognition. Congratulations, my friend, and welcome to the club.
That was awesome, Danny. Congratulations. Scott, you're on, buddy.
How are you, buddy? I'm good. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, first of all, thank you for that. I was just getting back at him because he made me introduce him 7 or 8 years ago, but much too nice, Danny. Thank you very much. We'll get into Danny, and we got some good friends here and people that played a part in what I was doing or how I got to be here. You know, I truly, this is a unbelievable honor. Nobody does what we do. You know, I had people around me and people in this room that did these things for me. So, and thank you, Teresa, for the kind words. I thought maybe I'd cut your son at some point or something. You're coming after me, so. Okay, whatever this looks like, don't be fooled. I went to a wedding last Saturday. My cousin's daughter got married. Barely even know the girl. And I bawled 5 different times during the thing. So get ready. And then I got everybody here I love, so good luck. And I don't do public speaking. I have the biggest mouth in the world in a dressing room since Danny and I were this big, and as a coach and everything else, but this stuff, no, not a chance. So it's not public speaking, it's going to be public reading, and now I'm blind and old, so bear with me. How long do I have, Ross? Well, I had, the original email said 10 minutes, and then I got something from Mike last week that said 5 minutes, so where is she? Yeah, I told Ms. Campbell, please, like, don't give me the hook or don't play that music like the award shows, but I got 3 big guys from Simcoe back there. If they start playing the music, you guys take care of them. Okay, here we go. Thank you to everyone. Humbled and very grateful. Now I got to read my bullet points and I'm blind. Congrats to all the other inductees this year. Certainly know all your names. I've always been a Brantford sports nut. And thank you to all the past inductees that show up for this stuff. Best wishes to everybody that was part of your journey and supported you people like the support I had. I'm in this spot today, and look, I can't even read this stuff. In the game because of the great men and leaders in my life around here. Okay, apologies for any names that I may have missed. It's been a long time, but we just had unbelievable people looking after us on our journey the whole way up. This is a big head, but the big head's empty, so there's not a lot of brains in there. Just quickly, before I go any further, I want to thank these men. And I'm leaving out, I played soccer in the offseason. Danny played baseball. Half the team played baseball. Half our hockey team played soccer. A few guys were real good golfers. And then we'd meet again, and we'd start hockey after Labor Day. So I'm leaving out my soccer coaches because I think I'm kind of here on what we've done with kids and what the guys that coached them have done with teams locally here. So this is hockey centric, I guess. My very first coach, I moved to Brantford when I was 10 from Dundas. My very first coach, I played hub. I moved here into the school year, so I couldn't play for the big team. So Mr. Paul Wilson, when I heard his name tonight, so he was my very first coach. Heavily involved in the Special Olympics in town. I'm taking it's the same Paul Wilson. Is that right? Yeah. So that was my very first Brantford coach. Now, I did get the big call up to the AAA team, the Nadrowski Steelers. I got a few games called up that year, and that was with Mr. Jerry Convey. Next year, we played for Mr. Bob Aiken, Turkstor Lumber, Major Pee Wee. All you old hockey guys will know these because it was always the same sponsor and everything. Mr. Sam Torlone. That was Major Pee Wee, and we were starting to get good. You know, we started to figure out who we are. And then we came to the Bantam years. And the Bantam years kind of really, we had a real good group. And that's why I love talking about this. I love bragging about the guys I grew up with. And we had a special coach, and he's here tonight. And he's got a familiar last name, and it's Danny's Uncle Billy. So Billy Grattan took us in minor Bantam and major Bantam, and that's when I got to meet Ross. Ross was around our team. Ross was our manager. Ross was the most organized guy. We were so good. And anybody knows Billy, he needed Ross. We know that. We also had Tommy Annual, who a lot of people know in town, and Billy Garrett were on the bench. We'll get back to that group later. Joe Lacko coaches in minor midget. That was a guy, I haven't seen him in years. He was ahead on analytics and the scientific side of hockey, however many years ago, 45 years ago. Junior, another Grattan comes into play, Kenny Grattan, and we'll talk about him and the Grattan influence on so many players around here. I left town. I went to play in Stratford for a storied franchise. The Flanagan family ran the hockey team there. Their son was my coach, but I got to meet my Billet family who's here tonight. The MacArthur family. Here we go. I'm starting to cry. Unbelievable what the place they have held in my life and what they did. We'll get back to them too. Ended up at Ohio State eventually. Jerry Welsh was another man that had a big influence on you know how to handle groups and get the most out of people. I'm a big fan of Brantford sports and those that have made their mark in the sporting world. Always have been. Brian touched on it last week when we spoke, and in his article, I was so lucky, and we've heard the names: Arnold Anderson, Ted Bear, Ed O'Leary, and Brian segued into that. Now the media industry stinks. It's too bad because, you know, we had a paper 6 days a week. You know what? We heard our names. It was such a big deal to hear Mr. Anderson say your name at lunchtime, you know, from your hockey game the night before. You know, our names were in the paper. It was such a big deal. And through no fault of Brian's, you guys know we get 3 papers a week now, and it's just not like it was. And somebody that complimented Brian on what he does, it is very, very complimentary with how this landscape of the media, local media, has changed. But we were so lucky to have that. And with that, we all grew up with number 99 in our backyard as well. So we had that, but we always had everybody else's sporting exploits and adventures as well. So that was just such a big part of who we were. Now, I'm a big Brantford sports fanatic, you know, the people that we've seen, but Ross is a bigger one, and he writes books about it. So I didn't really come here to plug your books, Ross, but Ross, you've got 3 now, right? Yeah, so make sure you buy Ross's books. It's unbelievable, walk down memory lane. Want to get onto that team I was talking to you about. I want to brag about these guys, and some of those guys are here tonight. That Bantam team that Billy, you know, that's when we started figuring out who we were, and Billy helped us. Billy helped us figure out who we were, and it was just something else. And that was the old days. So I've been lucky as a coach here, coaching minor hockey. I don't know if I'm lucky, but we draw from all the way down to the lake. We draw from Woodstock, you know, Paris, anyways, all over. Had wonderful players from the reserve. Always helped us win. Big parts of what we did. But back in our days, I hate talking like that. We never talk like that to the kids, by the way. Our team was what you had to live within the city limits. So the city limit signs, that was it. And it didn't matter if a guy lived, you know, a mile past. He had to play for Paris or he had to play for Brantford. Nobody came in. So that group was so special, and it's incredible. I tried to do it, and I probably got my numbers wrong here, but those Bantam years with Coach Bill, we won the OMHA title twice. We made it to the Loblaws Cup, which was a big deal back then. On a Sunday afternoon, you know, we made the final on global television. Bobby Orr was the color man, and we were Brantford. And it was only one team from Thunder Bay, one team from Ottawa, host team, we were in Cornwall, Toronto. Anyways, we ended up, we had to try and slay the giant, the Don Mills Flyers back then. We didn't know who they were. Like, everybody knows each other now. We didn't know who they were, and we were Brantford. So we did get nice jerseys and socks, but the Brantford crew, we had guys with different colored helmets, different colored pants, like, and Don Mills looked like the Russian Red Army coming. Everything was the same, but they got us in the end. But we still talk about it. Mick Ferris is a great historian because his brother played on that team. It was just a Brantford, that was the Brantford identity. Didn't care what we looked like, just went there to win and try and find a way. Now, we fell down to the last hurdle, but it was just a snapshot of what that team was, what that team was able to do. Off that those Bantam years, and this has nothing to do with me. I'm here as a builder. I'm not here as a player like Danny. There was 5 NHL draft picks. OHL players, 3, 4, and 5-year OHL players. Danny won a World Junior Gold. 3 of us went NCAA. Other guys went U Sports. Guys played pro. We had a guy that couldn't make our team one of the years. He played for the Olympic team. Dan Nowak played for Germany. It was just incredible. You think about it, that's just all inside Brantford city limits. Like so proud of just being a part of that group, and Billy getting the most out of us. Such a competitive group. We competed on everything. We competed with each other, but we were our own best cheerleaders. Just the competition, the inner competition, wanting to outdo your best friend is what drove us. And the Grattans kind of pushed us that way. They coached us that way. It was so gratifying, and we were able to achieve the things that we did. Ross had to keep Billy in line a lot. I remember that vaguely. But this competition was great, and it made us who we were. The competition wasn't so great later when we started learning how to drink beer, and Danny says he drank 18 beers on Friday night, so got to go for 19 on Saturday to beat him. But no, without these guys, none of us we wouldn't have ever achieved what we ended up achieving with this sort of background. Here we go. These guys are some of my closest friends still. Nothing has changed. We were 13 and 14 in those Bantam years. My respect for these guys, the love for them as men now. We're almost 60. It's immense. Guys, we don't change. Now, I did say, this is where I try and keep the waterworks off. We lost our mom in January. And I tried to figure out my math, which is wrong and everything. But of the first 10 phone calls I made to people, 6 of them were to guys with that team. 3 were to Stratford people, and 1 was to my cousin I went to a wedding and cried on the weekend. So that's how important these guys are still at that point in our life. I cannot see some of them for 5 years, and all you sports people, you know that. You walk in, everything's the same again. It's such a gift to be around these guys and have these guys in my life that whole time. We'll get on to the Grattans a bit. Billy and Kenny. So Kenny, we got Kenny later once we got into junior. They created so many hockey players. They're the original summer skills guys. Everybody in the world does skills, and kids skate all summer, and they run from here to there and there. Those guys were the original skills guys, and we would get our asses skated off once a week, and it was the greatest thing in the world. We could do push-ups and lengths and laps, and they'd bring in Warren Bayshard, and we'd run 10 miles around town. But that was happening in the early 1980s, late 70s. But they really paved the way, and the amount of players whose lives they touched, it's incredible. They showed us how to win and what it meant to give up so much of yourself to be part to the team. Their fingerprints are all over. If you ever look at any old hockey history books, the amount of guys from Brantford that played for those guys that went on to do things in hockey, it's incredible. Taught us how to win. I spoke with Brian about that last week when he called. Winning means something, and it means something in Brantford, and that's been lost lately. It was a lot more fun winning and giving up so much yourself to achieve the wins that we did. So don't ever forget that. And that's how we certainly ran our teams as well. We wanted to win. These groups that we were taught. I don't know when we were taught, but we picked it up. We hated losing more than we loved winning. So, and that to us, that was the Brantford way, and we kept that on no matter where we were in the world. We always took a little Brantford with us, depending, if we had guys or not, if we were on our own. We're lucky enough to take my game to Stratford after, I had played in Brantford, and what just a classy organization. And unfortunately, I was a bit rough. I brought a bit of Brantford there, And these guys knocked it out of me. What a family I moved in with. There were 4 kids. I think, Catherine, you might have been 11 or 12, and then your 3 siblings were 5 and under or 6 and under. So all these young kids, just a great family. And Mr. Brantford appeared, and I wasn't supposed to live there. And then something happened at our original billet house, so my billet mom, who's no longer with us, she said, okay, we'll take the stray dog. There was already a roommate there. So I got so lucky, but this is the Brantford way at that time. I was suspended for our first game from the previous year, from Brantford stuff. So there was a big party out in the field there, and it was the biggest party I've ever been to. But my first Saturday night at the MacArthur household, I arrived home at about 8:30 in the morning Sunday, and I'm going up the stairs to bed as these 4 children are coming down going to church. So that was a great way to make my presence known in my Stratford house. But they redirected me very quickly. The general was such a great influence in my life, and we ended up winning. We won everything there. What a great team to be a part of. Back to Brantford and how lucky I was. I don't have an older brother. Okay, I was the older brother. My sister's 2 years younger than me. And when I got sick of her beating me up at 11 and 12 years old, I kind of figured out I got to be around some guys here. So I had my best friend. I had Danny. It was so cool that Danny's dad and Danny's uncle played pro hockey. Just loved it. Loved that fact. Loved being around that. Tried to soak it up. Joe Steffen, another one. Greg Steffen, Gary Steffen. They were older than us, and they lived in my neighborhood. Just to be around Greg Steffen, who played in Detroit for years. Well, who were his friends? His friends were Lenny Hackborn, all the guys his age. So just to be around those guys was such a blessing, and I soaked it all in. I wanted to be those guys so bad. No matter how bad Greg Steffen would beat us, I'd walk by and whack us in the head for no reason. Loved it. Go back the next day, whack me in the head twice. Just loved being around those guys. And those were all Brantford guys that were doing things. Those were our role models. Joe Ferris. Joe Ferris played with Shane. Shane's a year older, played with Shane and Junior. Joe the whole way up. Joel's older brother's Mick Ferris. What a role model. And I know Mick has transcended all groups and everything else. His rugby stuff, what he's done in this town, everybody in this room knows who Mick Ferris is. What a role model to have. And still, with him all the time, speak to him all the time, and what he's done for local kids. Still can, run them all into the ground. It's incredible. Keith Gretzky. Keith had a brother that played. He was pretty good too. So just to be around that was incredible. Biggest Gretzky fan in the world. It was embarrassing. Guys, his brother's one of my best friends, and I was the biggest stargazer in the world. Still am. Unbelievable. But to have all this around just helped made who we were and gave us that Brantford identity. Just tried to soak in everything I could around these guys. As a teenager, imagine this. I got to scrimmage with these guys' older brothers. So when I'm on the red rink, some Wednesday afternoon or something in the middle of summer, I got to scrimmage with 99. I got to shoot on Greg Steffen, Dan Mandich, Brian Cross, who else? Tom Fergus, Lenny Hackborn. Oh, I love Lenny. Lenny's one of our guys. Lenny's in here. This is a privilege to be in. I used to love watching Lenny Hackborn skate. And I got to experience all that with these guys that were a part of my life. It was incredible. Back to why we're here is Brantford sports and the teams that, I had a part of. Our teams had success, but never put it down to just hockey. We were coaching teenagers, and teenagers had a lot going on in their lives, depending if it was under 16 or the junior teams. We understood that. So everybody gets so wrapped up in hockey. I learned so much from other guys, and there's guys in this room tonight. I worked for LA, as Danny said. Rob Blake and Nelson Emerson, a couple guys from Norfolk, unbelievable guys to work for. But when I started, Blakey has these pillars. His pillars. Blakey has since resigned, but anyways, we had pillars that we form our program on and what we're looking for. And I kind of had pillars in town here when I was coaching. I see Kelly Ireland came. He's my football pillar. And I would talk to him about how he was handling kids. He coached Assumption for years. He's at the university level. He's at McMaster. He's at St. Mary's. I learned so much from Kelly, and we just talk about athletes. Baseball. I had the Colemans. Jerry Coleman, no longer with us. Todd Coleman, one of my coaches. Unbelievable. Horse racing. Coleman's, they were the double threat. Standardbred horse racing as well. Basketball. Ross Enslev. How many titles you won? Millions. Lots and lots. Winning means something. And so I learned so much from these guys. The other one, and I've never met Aaron Carpenter, but I saw him, I heard his name, and I think I know who he is. Rugby. We're back to Mick. Incredible. BCI Rugby. What a dynasty. And they took those kids, I don't know where Mick and Bob Booz, Mark Cahoon has taken it up from there. And they just won. BCI Rugby just won, correct, Mick, last week? Ontario title. That's unbelievable. So I learned so much from those guys. Just dealing with kids. Hockey's hockey. X's and O's are X's and O's. But these guys have so many other things going in their lives. But these are great pillars that I was able to lean on and learn from. I learned so much from all those guys, and I'm very grateful. And we just always try to keep it better. Where are we here? I don't know what's gone. My coaches, I'm sorry, guys that helped me, because it really was us, and they learned how to handle me. I was the big mouth, I was the head coach, but the guys that helped me were so important. And some were good at redirecting me, some were good at blowing my idea out of the water and representing something else and making it my own. They were great, and the families loved the guys that were helping me. They all came with the right reasons. Junior B, we won a Sutherland Cup there in 08-09. Daryl Paquette, local guy in town, unbelievable. What a great coach, and what a commitment we had that year. We would talk every single day. Mike Down was another assistant coach on that team. I coached later with Wes Consorti, who's here tonight. My managers. So you have a manager when you're coaching minor hockey. My managers were unbelievable. I couldn't do any of that, And Ross set the stage for what a manager and how to organize a successful minor hockey program. But I got lucky later when I was coaching. And I have to mention them. Brian Bibby, Jim Cochran, Tina Kersey, and Lisa Camiris. Those are, I did 4 years in a row there with the under-16s. My assistant coaches, Phil Dalpy. Jimmy Cummins was somebody, unbelievable enthusiasm. Andrew Fritsch, he did a couple years with us. He's now with Pittsburgh, development coach. Steve Ackmeyer, 3 years. Unbelievable. Like we talk daily still about our guys. Todd Coleman was with me through all of this. Unbelievable commitment to what we're doing. Just a great role model to all these kids. Special mention is to Luke Van Moorkirk, who runs the athlete farm training in town. He's a little different because he played for me on that Sutherland Cup winning team, and then he coached with me. So he really knew how to handle me. And he's got his, hands on so many elite athletes, helping them get better right now. These guys were incredible contributors to what we did. I love the fact that I'll get a text. I'll be driving home from a game, and somebody will, one of these guys will text me and say, "Oh, so-and-so had a good game out in BC tonight," and it's about our players. They get us forever. I love that. I know they're good guys. When I run into the players, they'll come up to me and say, "Hey, how's TC doing?" Or, "Did you see Coach Ack? What's new with him?" So I know they didn't really care for me, but they really love my assistants, and that's okay. Okay, I'm going to finish, Ross, I promise. I know. When Luke and I first kind of went into minor hockey, we decided we want to make great teammates. That was our goal. We want to make these guys to like each other 30 years from now when they're walking down the street. So, and that's a lot harder this day. But it was so ironic because I think that's the greatest award you can get on a team. Not MVP, not leading scorer, not most improved player, but to have your peers look at you and call you a great teammate. That was what we tried for. I work with LA now. When I first took the job, I was talking to Nelson Emerson. I said, well, what do we want here? Like, are we looking for defense? Are we looking for grit? Are we looking for this? And his answer was, Scotty, Blakey just wants good teammates. And when he said that, I said, oh, you know what, maybe we've been doing something right here for a while. So that was great to know. Well, where are we here? Culture before structure. Sorry, Ross. I'm going to quit. Brian asked me the greatest thing about any of the coaching locally, and it was the Southern Cup was probably the highlight. What a thing to do. We hadn't done it in so many years. We had so many Brantford kids in the lineup. They were hardworking. They were coachable. We had an offense led by 3 local 18-year-olds. Great leadership in the room. Unreal support. Brantford loves a playoff winner. One thing we did with that, I'm done. I swear. No, not yet. The night before, this is where we got all Brantford on them. We had a very good team. The night before playoffs, we were playing Guelph in the first round. And we had a quick skate, going to get ready. And then I decided we're gonna dedicate something. You know, we're going to have our players. We're going to have a quick meeting. It'll be 20 minutes. Everybody's going to dedicate their playoff performance to somebody important in their life, and they're not going to let them down. So we did that. We got a goalie stick. We taped it up. And everybody had to say who they were playing the playoffs for and, you know, what they meant to them and write their name, and then the player would sign their name. We did it as coaches. This 20-minute meeting ended up taking 3 hours the night before a game. It was the most powerful meeting I've ever been a part of. Guys, you know, we were crying. Guys were, bearing everything because we were a team. It was incredible. We went out that next night. We were winning real quick in the game. But this team had pissed us off the last time we had played them in the regular season. And they got dirty. They got one of our players suspended. We were better than them, but Daryl Paquette hated the other coach. The other coach was a policeman like him. The other coach was a goalie like him. So it was extra special to really give it to this Guelph team. So after the first period, we're beating them handily, but we really want to ramp it up. So the 3 coaches, we put $100 each of our own money in. And you don't do this. Kids don't do this at home. And we walked into the room, we said, there's $300 here. And we're thinking, like, do we give it to the guy who scores the most goals? Anyways, so I came up with the idea. $300 is up on the board for whoever scores the last goal of the game. And the guys that get assists, it's $100 each, goal, assist. So that's how you really bury a team, and that's how you really go all Brantford on them. And I don't know, Brian would remember, we scored like 16 or 17 goals in the first game of the playoffs. It was the greatest feeling in the world, but that was the Brantford way. We had to show them. And so happy we were able to do all that. I can't hear. I got to go. Thank you. Thank you to all my family that puts up with me. I never learned to leave it at home.
I'm glad Scott doesn't like public speaking. Anyway, that just shows the pride of people that were brought up in this community and the importance of getting a good start and the importance of neighborhood activities. And I know he had so many people that he wanted to thank, and I'm happy that he got his time because he deserves it, okay? Kim's just made the presentation to Scott. I think Scott's going to thank her. I'd like to invite Rick Mannon to the stage. Rick's going to read the bio of Brian Smiley and then invite Brian to the stage.
Brian. He's a very much respected journalist for the Brantford Expositor since 1991 and named sports editor in 2004. He covered Brantford, Brant County, and Six Nations local sports for over 25 years. With his incredible work ethic, writing skills, sports knowledge, and focus, he conducts timely interviews and writes the personal stories of a multitude of athletes, teams, coaches, supporters, and builders in their sport. His stories serve as inspiration to many athletes at all ages. He also keeps our community up to date on local sports scene. He compiles local sports statistics, provides commentary with coaches and players in their sport. In today's technology-driven world, Brian has been successful in adapting to the constantly changing and evolving reporting and social media in sports news. Brian breathes sports. He's dedicated to sports. He loves all sports, and he has had and continues to have a huge impact on sports in Brantford and the surrounding area. Brian also gives back to the community by volunteering as a coach and offering his vast knowledge of local sports while being a member of the selection committees for the Brantford Area Sports Hall of Recognition and the Frank Tomlin Sports Person of the Year Award. That's just to name a few. In addition to Brian's dedication to promoting and supporting local sports, he truly cares about sports community, our sports community. Much like his predecessors, sports broadcaster Arnold Anderson, sports journalist Ted Baer, and Ed O'Leary, Brian is extremely dedicated to being our written voice of sports in our area. Brian is a humble man. In fact, I'm going to use one of his quotes to give you an idea how humble he is. He says, "I'm not the story, I tell the story." As a dear, respected friend, I'm honored to congratulate Brian and welcome him into the Sports Hall as an honoree in the Builder category for sports journalism.
Thanks, Rick. I'd like to invite Brian.
Well, as Rick said, I'm a background guy. I am not a public speaker. I would love to be at, I think it's the back table in that very back corner. I have a couple co-workers. That's where I'd love to be right now. Thank you for coming. I'd like to start by thanking Rick for graciously agreeing to introduce me. Rick, along with his wife Josie, have been integral not only to Brantford's sports community, but the community at large for many, many years. For those who don't know Rick, he is a former world-class marathoner, Hall of Recognition inductee, and first-class human being. I've worked with Rick on several committees, and along with Josie, the two of them have volunteered and done so much for our community. Brantford is extremely lucky to have people like Rick and Josie. I feel like luck and fate are a couple things I know a lot about, and I truly believe in them. When I look back over my life, including the 26 plus years I've been at the Expositor, luck and fate have played a large part in where I am. When I was younger, like most kids who played sports, my dream was to be a professional athlete, and I wanted to play for the New York Yankees. The Yankees in my youth were nothing like the team today, but they were my favorite team mostly because of their history. I dreamed one day of playing for them, and my favorite player and athlete has always been Lou Gehrig. For those of you who don't know who Gehrig was, he was a first baseman with the Yankees in the 1920s and 30s. Known as the Iron Horse, he played in 2,130 consecutive games, a record that stood until Cal Ripken Jr. broke it. Gehrig, I admired Gehrig for that and many things. Among them, the courage and strength he showed when he was forced to retire from baseball in 1939. Gehrig was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. That disease, ALS, is better known as Lou Gehrig's disease, and it ended his playing streak, career, and eventually his life. On July 4th, 1939, Gehrig gave one of the most famous sports speeches in the history of sports when he declared himself the luckiest man alive. During his speech, Gehrig told the crowd at Yankee Stadium that despite the fact he was given a bad break, he was the luckiest man alive. As a young kid, it was hard to understand what Gehrig was saying, but it was the perspective I've learned to have throughout my entire life. When I look back at how things have played out, if Gehrig were alive, I would love to debate who's been luckier. When I decided I wanted to do something in my life, I looked at sports and writing. Those were two things that I loved. So I decided to become a sports writer. It wasn't a very well thought out idea. The Expositor only had 2 sports reporters at that time, but there was nowhere else I wanted to work other than Brantford. The first lucky break I got in my adult life, and it was the biggest piece of luck I've ever had, was when my sister Crystal was working at Pioneer Gas Station on King George Road. At that time, former sports reporter Ed O'Leary would go in and get gas. One day O'Leary asked my sister if he knew anybody who wanted to be a sports writer. Well, as luck would have it, her brother was just finishing at Conestoga College. The relationship between Ed and my sister led me to being hired by the Expositor part-time in February of 1999, and after summer co-op, I was hired full-time. I feel extremely lucky to have the job I have. I'm currently the only full-time sports reporter in the city, and I take great pride and responsibility in that. I was never going to become rich and famous as a sports writer, but the joy and excitement I get doing what I do is more than enough. I like to tell people I've never worked a day in my adult life, and I truly believe that. Through the years, the newspaper business has shrunk through layoffs and attrition, but yet I remain. It isn't a testament to me. It's a testament to the community engaging and expecting the sports coverage they've always received. I think that helps to show that the work I do matters. To talk about any athlete or team above any other would be a disservice. In my eyes, all the stories I've told over the years, big or small, have had the same importance because it was important to the people involved and to the community. There are many people in this room who I'm privileged to have written about or talked to. The connections and relationship I've made, I treasure. I'm lucky to be standing here in front of you today, joining 3 other legendary names in Brantford sports journalism who are in the Hall of Recognition. Before me, there was Arnold Anderson, the great KPC broadcaster, Ted Baer, the fantastic Expositor sports editor, and Ed O'Leary, the legendary Expositor sports reporter who took me under his wing and showed me the way. Those 3 individuals belong on a Mount Rushmore of sports journalism in Brantford, and I feel extremely honored to have my name alongside theirs. Throughout the years, I've tried to take a bit of something from each of them. Anderson giving kids a boost by announcing their name on the morning news, Baer with his exquisite writing style, and O'Leary with his fantastic ability to tell a story. And while I've also tried to create my own path, there aren't 3 better role models that I can think to follow. Now some time for some thank yous. I want to thank the selection committee, the Brantford and Area Sports Hall Alliance, the City of Brantford and its staff. This Hall of Recognition is a local treasure and something all of you support to recognize greatness from within our area. I want to thank and congratulate my fellow honorees and inductees. All of you I've written about at one time or another, and you are all extremely worthy of being inducted. Congratulations to all of you. I want to thank my coworkers, past and present. The work they do matters. They are all extremely good at what they do and are equally as passionate as I am. And I want to thank everyone who's given me the time to tell their stories. It's been an honor and a privilege. Finally, my family. First, my sister-in-law, Megan Campbell, and father-in-law, Cecil Campbell. The 2 of them in different ways have supported me, and that has meant more to me than they'll ever know. My immediate family. I can still remember when I started playing baseball, and my brother, my sister, and myself were part of a single-parent household. We really didn't have much. My brother Ron was a few years older than me, and he had a part-time job. He had some extra money. He took me to the Kmart, which some of you will remember is where the Winners is now, and he bought me a new baseball glove. I love that glove so much, and through the years, I've never forgotten how thoughtful my teenage brother was to get me something so important. I want to thank my brother Ron for that and for everything he's done for me. My sister Crystal. As previously mentioned, it was because of her that I got the job at the Expositor. Because of her connecting me to Ed, I have all that I have, and I truly mean that. My sister was my biggest fan and more important to me than she ever knew. My sister passed away in 2012, and although she's not here today, I know somewhere she's smiling and is extremely proud. My mom, Colleen. She was the one who found the money to sign me up for baseball because she knew how much I love sports. She stuck up for me when an elementary teacher felt I should read more than just sports books, telling him that any type of reading was important. She has always backed me and encouraged me and in everything I've done. Growing up, we had very little. As a single parent, my mother raised the 3 of us and gave us all she could. A high school dropout, she even went back to North Park Collegiate in her 30s, in the classroom, and graduated from high school and then university. The support she provided and the love she showed me was pivotal when I was younger. Thanks, Mom. And lastly, my wife, Allison, and kids, Jackson and Reese. Parents all say the same thing, but I'm truly blessed to have 2 great kids. I've had so much joy watching them grow and become the people they are. The past 6 years, watching them compete in high school sports, so close to me doing the job I love, has been something I'll never forget. They are my world. Meeting Allison may have been the luckiest break of my life. We met on the Thursday before Good Friday in 1998. It was a chance meeting, but one that has resulted in us being together for 27 years. Being married to a sports reporter isn't easy. The hours aren't conducive to raising a family or having a social life, but somehow we've managed to make it. Through the ups and downs, the good and the bad, Allison has always been beside me. Thank you. Even though it's my induction that's being celebrated, It wouldn't be possible without any of the people I've mentioned, plus a boatload of others who, if I had more time, I'd definitely mention. To everyone throughout the years who has supported me or been a part of this journey, I thank you. I am truly humbled and honored to be recognized tonight. And like Lou Gehrig, but under much different circumstances, today I consider myself the luckiest man on earth. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Adam Peterson to the stage. Adam will read the bio of Liz Hart and will invite Liz to the stage.
Good evening, everyone, and congratulations to the inductees. It is my privilege to stand here tonight to celebrate a remarkable athlete, leader, and proud daughter of Brantford, my cousin, Elizabeth Hart. From local gyms and playgrounds to university arenas, national championships, and international courts, Liz's basketball journey is a story of hard work, perseverance, and passion for the game. Her roots are here in Brantford, but her impact has been felt across Canada and around the world. Liz grew up right here in Brantford, diving into sports at an early age, swimming, playing t-ball and softball, before discovering her true passion on the basketball court. She developed her skills through the local Briars program and at BCI and at North Park, and went on to compete with Ontario basketball provincial team, proudly earning a bronze medal at the 1993 Canada Summer Games. Liz's basketball career led her to shine during her time at the University of Toronto. As a varsity Blues standout, she became one of the most decorated athletes in the program's history. She led her team to multiple Ontario University championships and Canadian national medal finishes, and was awarded Ontario East MVP, First Team All-Canadian, and earned the prestigious Clara Benson Award for excellence in both academics and athletics. Liz was not just known for her scoring and her leadership, but was also an incredible free throw shooter, finishing one season with over 90% from the free throw line. She was a fierce competitor, a generous teammate, and a student of the game. Hello. That university excellence propelled Liz onto the national and international stage. She represented Canada at the World Games in Italy, and from 1998 to 2001, she proudly wore the Canadian jersey as a member of the senior national team. In 1999, Liz helped Canada earn a silver medal at the Pan Am Games in Winnipeg, an incredible moment that brought her full circle from Brantford to the world stage. Her talents then took her overseas, where she played professionally in Germany for 3 years, earning Bundesliga All-Star honors and continuing to represent Canada basketball with pride and professionalism. Being asked to share a couple personal stories about Liz and her sports journey would take a lot of time and not afforded here. Whether it be rebounding for Liz in a hot gym after she ran 5K and then would go on to hit 400 of her 425 shots, or watching her single-handedly win an OFSA game, putting up 37 points while having the flu. But personally for Liz, basketball was always more than a sport. It was a platform. Her deep faith in God guided her through every challenge and opportunity. Whether she was competing on the court or mentoring young athletes, Liz used her experience to reflect the love of Christ and to encourage others with humility, purpose, and joy. Her life is a testament to how faith and sport can work hand in hand and make a lasting impact far beyond the scoreboard. Today, Liz lives in Chattanooga, Tennessee, with her husband Stephen and their 2 sons, Titus and Elijah. She continues to pour into the next generation as basketball education teacher, basketball coach, and a phys ed teacher there at her school. Liz, tonight we celebrate not only your incredible achievements, but also your character, your faith, and your legacy that continues to be built. On behalf of your hometown, congratulations on your well-deserved induction in the Brantford Hall of Recognition. Congratulations, Liz.
Thank you very much, Adam. I just told him, I give him an A for that. That was, excuse me, a very sweet introduction for me, and I'm very grateful. For everyone who's part of the Brantford and Area Sports Hall of Recognition, thank you for tonight. Everything is wonderful. I was able to visit the hall for the first time today, and you've done such an amazing job. I know that growing up here in Brantford, for any of the students, and really anyone of any age who goes to visit that Hall of Recognition, you can be inspired. And you can be inspired to do something new, to do something, to keep going with something that you love, and to do something. And as I said with the TV interview this morning, kids, get off your phone, get outside, get running around and do something. And that's what we want to encourage everyone to be doing. And so I'm very grateful. So thank you to everyone who's made this night happen, and for everyone who's part of the Sports Hall of Recognition. To all of the other nominees, I am very humbled and grateful to be named among you for all of your wonderful accomplishments. And I think we take it for granted growing up in this community for how many people love and want to be a part of sports and encourage youth sports. It didn't matter if you had a kid on the team or not, but when there was a game going on, you can count on the people in our community to come and support our young athletes. And that's not what everyone grew up with. And I'm very grateful for everyone who came out and support when I was playing here, especially in Brantford, and for all the students who get to experience that. It's not like everywhere else. So I'm very grateful to be from Brantford. I'm grateful to all of my coaches that I've had throughout the years. Ross was one of my very first club team coaches here in Brantford, and I'm very grateful for what I learned from him, from Jerry Vidiello, and then of course at the University of Toronto with Michelle Belanger, who is a pioneer in women's basketball and a wonderful coach and person who's been with me in all different ups and downs of life. And I'm so very grateful for all the coaches that I've had. I'm grateful for all the teammates that I've had. They really, as we've heard from others, your teammates, you can try to explain it to others, but it's in the trenches through the thick and thin of all the different things that you have to deal with. As an athlete, you very much have situations in your life where you have a lot of ups and downs, and you can very much ebb and flow with that. And I was grateful to have wonderful teammates, and of course I was grounded in my faith, so that whether I went 18 for 20 or 10 for 20, I still knew that my faith was there and that I didn't need to base my identity on sport and whether the ball went in the hoop or not. And with that, my family was certainly a part of that. I'm grateful to my family for their love and support, for them speaking truth in my life when things were difficult and when it was hard to keep going and persevere. They always reminded me of the truth that God loves me, that God is good, and that he has a good plan for my life. And I'm very grateful for how they've taught me. Basketball was an opportunity for me to stretch that faith and to be tested. I didn't always get it right, but I certainly knew that with more practice, I would hope that because of who I am today through the sport of basketball, I'm a better person, I'm a better mom, I'm a better teacher, I'm a better coach. I certainly learned some patience as a elementary PE teacher in Chattanooga. I do a elementary kindergarten all kids bike program where I teach kindergarten kids how to ride a bike. I'll just let that sit there for a second. Basketball has helped me to become a more patient person and an encouraging person, and helping kids realize that they can do hard things, and that's okay. And so I'm very grateful for all of those things. For my husband, who's heard for 20 years, and it's funny because this was the hotel that we had our wedding rehearsal dinner in. We celebrate 20 years in August. He's heard a lot about basketball. He never saw me play, but I keep saying, well, yeah, I did pretty good for myself. It's grateful to have his love and support. I know he's very proud. For my boys who are not able to be with me and who are bigger than me now, they are both playing football and basketball, and school is out in Tennessee, so they're practicing football and basketball, so they could not come. But I'm grateful for this opportunity. I hope to get to show them this Hall of Recognition and also to remind them, your mom really is very cool. She's fire. Your mom is fire. Like, I keep trying to tell them that, and they don't always believe me. I don't know why. I think their friends believe me, but they don't. But I'm grateful to have this opportunity. I'm grateful to be named among you. And once again, the community has come out to support all of us, and we are just so very grateful. So thank you very much. I'm humbled and honored to be part of this community and to be part of the Sports Hall of Recognition. Thank you very much.
I'd like to invite Jocelyn J. to the stage to introduce Suzanne Pollins.
Good evening. Congratulations to all the inductees this evening. I'm here tonight to honor and introduce someone who shaped who I am. So Scott, I'm right there with you on the emotion. Not just as a professional, but as a person. Suzanne Pollins is my best friend, my mentor, and a true role model for what leadership really looks like. Suzanne's strength isn't for show. It's grounded and it's genuine. It's brave. It's the kind of strength that isn't afraid to sit in hard conversations or hold space for vulnerability. And most importantly, it's always guided by empathy. If you know me, you know I can be very direct. Over the years, I've lost count of how many emails Suzanne has reviewed for me, editing out those blunt edges that may have otherwise gotten me into trouble. I'd send her a draft, and without fail, she'd softened it just enough while still keeping it authentic. Eventually, I started to hear her voice in my head and learned to do that part myself. Suzanne taught me how to slow down and be curious. When I wanted to react, she'd remind me, ask more questions, say, tell me more. She changed how I lead, how I connect with people, and how I show up when it matters. She always made her work about people. It's never been about ego. It's always been about the swimmers, the community, her why. That's who Suzanne is. And at the center of it all is her family. Suzanne is an incredible mom to 3 amazing kids, Beth, Alex, and Sebastian. You can see her influence in the way they carry themselves. Kindness, awareness, and quiet confidence. That comes from how she leads, how she listens, how she shows up every day. They've grown up in the swimming world, but more importantly, they've grown up with Suzanne as their role model, and it shows. They look out for others, they lead with empathy, and they show up for their people, just like their mom. Watching the way she balances her passion for the sport with her devotion to her family is inspiring. She leads at home just as she leads in sport, with presence, purpose, and heart. Her kids aren't just part of her story, they are her proudest legacy. So with immense pride, deep gratitude, and clearly a lot of emotion, I ask you to join me in celebrating someone who has made an unforgettable impact in our sport of swimming in Canada. Congratulations, Suzanne, on your induction into the Brantford Sports Hall of Recognition.
Come on up, Suzanne.
That's going to be a little tough now to try and continue on with that. But thank you, Jocelyn, for that heartfelt introduction tonight. Your friendship means the world to me, and I am honored to be now in the hall alongside you. Thank you to the Brantford Sport Hall of Recognition and the Selection Committee for the nomination, to Jocelyn, Shannon Scheffel, Pat Shuchuk, and Bill Harding, who all had a hand in supporting my nomination. Congratulations to the fellow inductees and honorees. Each of your stories in sport is inspiring. I'm deeply honored by this induction. Little did I know when I began swimming all those years ago that it would lead me here as a builder for swimming in a city where my parents were born and raised, where I moved back in 1991 after growing up in Trenton, Ontario, following university and getting married to start and raise my family. Brantford is a tremendous sporting community, and the Brantford Aquatic Club has a long history, currently celebrating its 50th year. It's been 25 years since my oldest, Beth, joined the club, followed by her brothers, Alex and Sebastian. The 24-25 season is the first season since 2000 that there hasn't been a Pollins swimmer swimming for the club. I've had the privilege of volunteering with some of the greatest people I know. Kim Smith, John Livings, Dave Schufelt, Jeff and Sandy Lee, Kim Mitchell, Jocelyn Jay, Shannon Scheffel, and the list goes on and on. Kim Smith taught me what it was to be a meet manager. I may have been a little raw, but she got me there. John paved the way for me to one day become president. Dave and Jeff were mentors in my officiating journey. There are very few clubs in Canada where you can say they have one international official. Brantford had 3, Jeff, Dave, and I. We can also count Mayor Davis, Larry Brock, MP Brock, and former Chief Ava Hill as former members of the Brantford Aquatic Club. It is an amazing community of people. When fellow honoree Brian Smiley interviewed me for the article he was writing, he asked me what this sport means to me. While the word everything comes to mind, I can go deeper than that. Swimming means family. My why in this sport has always been my kids. When I spoke to the Olympic and the Paralympic team last May after their selection for the Paris Games, I shared that my kids are my why in this sport. And by extension, all of their teammates and friends that they've had across the many years that they've swum, which included many of the swimmers that were in the room having just been selected for Paris. I am who I am in this sport because of Beth, Alex, and Sebastian. That extends to Jess and Ainsley, Alex and Sebastian's partners, who were or are swimmers now, and also to Glenn, Beth's husband. As the lone member of the family who hasn't breathed in chlorine his entire life, he lets us talk swimming when we are all together. I am very thankful Beth, Glenn, Alex, and Jess could be here tonight to celebrate with us. Sebastian and Ainsley are currently in Victoria competing at the World Championship Swimming Trials, and I will be heading back there tomorrow morning first thing for the last day of competition. Ray has always been there too, supporting this swimming family and supporting me as I volunteered with the club, traveled as an official across the province and then the country and then around the world. And when I took on the job with Swimming Canada, he was supportive of me leaving a 20-year career to follow my passion. And he also has been so supportive since I took on the CEO role for Swimming Canada. He drove carpool when the kids were young, helped with meets, set up and tear down, and was always there when he could be to cheer the kids on. And he even picked up swimming as a master swimmer, much easier on his knees than after all the years of running. And ultimately, this sport is also about my mom and dad. While they aren't with us anymore, I'm very thankful that my sister Catherine could be here tonight. I believe my parents ultimately set me on this path over 50 years ago. As volunteers with our local club in Trenton, watching my dad coach high school football and growing up on the sidelines, sport and volunteerism is something my parents believed in deeply. I don't think coaches and sport volunteers truly realize the impact of their efforts. They are influencing future leaders in sport, and where these kids will take them can't be understated. To my mom and dad, Ray, Beth, Alex, and Sebastian, thank you. I love you, and I wouldn't be here accepting this honor if it weren't for you. Thank you.
Just before I go on, I'd just like to make a comment about swimming. In our sport hall right now, I'd like to thank John Monet, and you'll know why in a minute. The other folks in our sport hall for swimming are Sarah Barber, Julie Howard, Jocelyn Jay, Shay McNichol, Tanya Hunks, Susan Smith. We are women for sure. But thanks, John Monet. I'd like to invite Dennis McKnight to the stage to introduce Mike Filer.
I'd like to do this without glasses, but everything's a blur. You know, I feel honored and humbled. I didn't meet Mike Filer till 2018, and I've followed the theme here of everybody's talk as you're giving a little bio about the person, and obviously I don't have no notes. I'm not a note guy. I'm a off the cuff. But I do want to say one thing, our sports guy. I'm from New York, Staten Island, and I got to know one thing. Who was the manager that had Wally Pitt playing ahead of Lou Gehrig? Like, huh? Coach Moron. Okay, anyway. You know, I look here, Peter Diakowski just joined us, and I'm going to have him to come up. I'm not trying to embarrass him or whatever, but since our boy blew the charts out of the water with rules and regulations, Peter's known Mike since how long?
2012, 13.
So I feel bad. Here's the only bio I know on Mike is I know he's from here. And I'm telling you, this is a hell of a place because to see what's going on, the highway out there, but to hear the stories and the pride that you all take in your community, it's a hell of a place. And you got a great guy coming in here. But I'd like Peter to talk a little bit first about younger Mike. And then I would like to talk a little bit about how special he is in my life and why I'm so humbled to speak.
Oh, thanks, Coach.
Now, we all do know who this gentleman is, right?
Well, I'm Peter Diakowski. I played guard for the Tiger Cats, for left guard.
Guard?
Left guard for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So imagine Coach here is the center, and this is a position that Mike Fowler found himself at home. I was the left guard, and so it was my job to step on Mike's toes from time to time, and he would step on mine. But we'd be here pushing and shoving and keeping the quarterback safe for the most part. But you guys want to hear about Mike and the bond you form playing on the offensive line next to each other is one of the strongest bonds in human relationships. And I feel like because of that, I've known Mike his whole life. So I'll take you back to the early days, to one May 6th day back in 1990. And we won't go back that far. But when Mike came to Hamilton, I was already one of the old guys on the team because in football you have a very short shelf life. The average career in the CFL is about 3 years, and I was already year 6 or 7, steadily becoming more uncoachable as the years went by, and your time is limited. So Mike came in, and it's the job of the veteran players to bring on the new guys. And one of the beautiful things about the CFL is because you're not getting paid millions of dollars, there's no incentive to stab a young guy in the back to preserve your job. Your integrity isn't worth what you're getting paid. It's on the NFL, $10 million. If that had been at stake and Mike had been, maybe risking my job, I don't know, I might not have been so nice or forthcoming with all of the secrets of the trade. But as it goes in the CFL, you take on, this role of mentor to the young players, and it was the same for me when I came into the locker room back in 2007. One of the salty old guys was George Hudson, and he had all of the stories and the lore of the guys who had come before us, Carl Coulter, Miles Gorell, who's getting honored by the Tiger Cats this year. And you go down that chain and you realize this team is a living link right back to its inception. And so I was already just about, or very soon to be, I was the longest serving Tiger Cat, and then I had the honor of passing that baton on to Mike, but not before I had taught him a lot. When he first came to Hamilton, I taught him how to drive on the one-way streets. I remember that vividly. Maybe not so vividly. And so we also shared this lore, and there's so much about what happens on the field, the battles. When you watch the television broadcast, the camera pans and follows the ball. You don't see the battles in the trenches. And then there's these players who live in legend. And when you're an offensive lineman, we're really focused on the guys that we play against, the defensive linemen. And so we had some wonderful battles, going up to Edmonton, playing guys like Armando Sewell and Eddie Steele, the real deal. And we told them all about those monsters who came before him, like Adriano Belli. And many of these stories, it's not just on the field, it's off the field too. And there's a great legacy in the CFL of pranks and things that I won't discuss with such young years around here. But it's a legacy that I was proud to pass along to Mike. And then Mike did such an incredible job of carrying it along. You know, he had his flowing long hair at the time. There was the equivalent of 2 or 3 small children of additional weight on him, which he has since shed. And I should also mention, he's so slim and trim now, and this was missed in the program, but Mike is a nationally ranked athlete in firemen's fitness games. He's national champion right here, so very rare do you attain that level of excellence in 2 very, very different sports. So that just tells you what a great natural athlete Mike is. And I will defer back to Coach here just to bring us now to the present day.
Did you play the Can you remind me? Okay. Anyway, it's kind of amazing, and the reason I did that, one, I'm humbled when a legend comes in a room with other legends, unannounced and unexpected. I was blessed as well to have played pro football. I played down south with the Chargers in the NFL for 11 years. But the money, we were just a little before that. My signing bonus was $1,000. My first year I made 50 grand, and my second year I'm starting and I made 65, and we're like, hey, that's CFL money now. But anyway, that's I met Mike Filer, like I said, in 2018, and he had become the product of this guy. And that product was, he was the leader, he was the captain, everything went through him. If you wanted to do something, you wanted advice, you needed help, whatever it was, you went to Mike Filer. He was the leader. So I knew right away in 2017 when I first got there, I was a special teams coordinator, and I had to watch the offensive line from afar, even though I've coached both. 2018, the staff was let go and offered the opportunity to seek employment elsewhere, which they did, but they kept me. And June Jones came along, and it was nice to see Mike and Coach Jones talk on the phone a few minutes ago or earlier this evening. And I got to work and now coach Mike. And there's one thing you know as a coach, you know who the head person is you got to get to, who's the leader, who has the ear and everything. And it couldn't have been a more perfect guy, and Peter did a hell of a job, because our job was easy as coaches. You know, as coaches, a lot of times we like to think as players, as guys were thanking their coaches that they worked with, their coaches that coached them. But see, I feel especially lucky about a guy like Mike Filer because I don't know how much I influenced him, but he influenced and changed my life. And I played with a lot of people. I've coached 15 guys that played in the NFL, and I'm talking made millions of dollars. Don't even know last time I heard, talked to him, whatever. But if we did, it'd be like we just picked up. But since the day I left in 2019, and my time was done with Mike Filer as a player coach, I feel honored about one thing, that he went out as the #1 rated center in the CFL in 2019 when my job was done. And I don't even know if he played in 2020 or not. I'm not good on bio shit, and I ain't got notes, and I don't know whose notes these are. But no wonder we take so long. You write this stuff, you feel like you got to read it. Anyway, so as I left in my journey with Mike, and Mike was the type of guy, I have an old truck. I live in San Diego. I shipped it up here. I didn't want to ship it back or drive it back. Mike says, Coach, you can just leave it in my house. I got a barn. Took me out to the farm. I okayed the barn and left the truck. Next year, left the truck again. And we started forming that type of relationship. And it just, as time has gone on, this is the first time I've seen Mike since maybe 2019. And we picked up right where we were. But we stay in touch. Well, we have music in common. And a video will come on, I'll email him. He goes, God, Coach, I love and miss you. You know, and I'm like, do you know how much I miss you? That's why I sent you this. I'm just going to shut up because I could fawn on the guy all night. But Mike Filer was a difference maker as a player. To see his beautiful wife and these two kids, I know he's a difference maker there. To know that now he is still serving selflessly the community as a firefighter. Folks, it's my honor, it's Pete's honor to welcome Mike Filer to the Brantford Hall of Fame. And you know what's funny? Just as Mike's walking up there, I don't need a mic. At one time, he was 320 plus. Mike, what do you weigh now? 250. Pete, our highest recorded weight? 335. 335. A year ago, was 302. What do you weigh now, by the way? You look great. To what? 282 and a half this morning. Well, I was 303 this time last year. Today, I weigh 267. So.
There's a reason why I asked these two to do this tonight, and you can see that for sure. So, I'll get to Dennis later. I got some great memories of him, and he holds a special place in my heart, so thank you. And Pete, I mean, we've been through everything together, from injuries and Grey Cups and countless wins and losses. So for you being here, it's an honor, and you did a hell of a job passing the torch, and I'm forever grateful for our friendship, so thank you for that. I want to start by just congratulating the other honorees and inductees on your successful careers. I can't really see everyone because I have these blinding lights in my eyes right now, but I'll do my best. It's an honor for me to share the stage with you guys and this moment for you and your families, so thank you for that. Being inducted in the Brantford Sports Hall of Recognition is not just a personal honor for me, but it's a tribute to every person that has walked this journey beside me. This community, the city of Brantford, it's where it all began for me. From my early weekend mornings at the Wayne Gretzky Center with the Brantford Minor Hockey Association, to my introduction to tackle football with the Brantford Bisons, to finishing off my high school career, my football career, with the BCI Mustangs as a city championship. This city shaped my professional career, and I'm forever grateful for that. Football has given me more than I ever could have imagined in life. It's given me a purpose, it's given me a platform, and it's given me a second family, as you can see with these two gentlemen here. Actually, another one, Sandy Beveridge, in the back as well. From the first time I strapped on the pads, I knew that this game was special, and it had nothing to do with wins or personal accolades. I played on the offensive line, so we didn't have any. But it had to do with what this game taught you, taught young athletes, taught young kids. And it taught me about discipline, it taught me about hard work, it taught me about sacrifice, resiliency, but most importantly, about teamwork. And somebody else mentioned and spoke about teamwork earlier, and I can't help but agree and talk about how sports is so important and influential, especially in young athletes, and it's all about teamwork. So I'm forever grateful for this sport and what it's given me. I want to start by thanking my coaches and my mentors along the way. From my early years of the late Ken Parsons, was a BCI legend, offensive line legend in this city. Coach Nick Kazher before I had the opportunity to be coached by him as well, and just an influential man in this city. Dave Jancola, who's over here as well, was one of my coaches in high school. Scott Gibson in the back was a very influential role model as our high school, what would you call it, police officer, I guess, or you kept me out of trouble in my later years, and I'm grateful for that. Mick, you're here as well for my rugby days. A lot of great influential people in this room, and these coaches, these mentors, were the grassroots coaches that did this for the love of the game and didn't ask for anything in return. They weren't the ones getting paid like Dennis over here. They're the ones doing it for free, and they never asked for anything. They show up and they would give everything they had. So I'm forever grateful for them for putting me on this path early in my career. And when I got to the CFL, I had the ability to be coached by some of this game's best. Coach McKnight talked earlier about June Jones, probably one of the greatest head coaches I've ever had, and I know you could speak for hours on June and what he's done for this game of football. But June Jones, Orlando Steinauer, Alan Rudolph, Tommy Condell, Steve Bodanis, my strength coach and conditioning coach for 15 plus years, These people pushed me day in and day out to be the best person I could be, and I'm forever grateful. And Dennis, man, I can, honestly, you stuck your neck out on the line for me in 2018 when everybody else in that organization gave up on me. You believed in me. We had some difficult conversations, and you pushed me to be better than what I was. And you knew, and I didn't know it at the time, but you knew that if I didn't change, that my time in Hamilton was probably going to end a lot shorter. And I'm forever grateful for, I didn't like it at the time, and I didn't appreciate it at the time, but the conversation we had in that off season, it put me on to have probably the best season of my career in 2019, and I'm forever grateful for that. So thank you very much. Football is the ultimate team sport. I'll try and keep this under 5 minutes. I know we're already way past that. So, and no individual recognition can be had without your teammates. To motivate 100 players to believe that the team's success far outweighs any individual success is probably the biggest challenge of this sport. And I've had the honor of sharing the field with some of the best, and Peter Dykowski, Marwan Hage, Tim O'Neill, Ryan Bauman. These guys, they paved the way before me. They taught me what it meant to be a pro, and not just in the game, but in the community as well. So I'm forever grateful to be able to have the opportunity to share the field with some of the best. And I wouldn't be here standing up here for this individual recognition if it wasn't for my teammates like Peter. So thank you very much. The fans and supporters, I see we got some Ticap fans here in the back. Oski Wee Wee. We got dedicated Ticap fans, and it was an honor to be able to strap up the pads and play in and day out for this organization. I'll say it, I said it before and I'll say it again, they're the CFL's best fans. And the fan base that trickles down from Hamilton to Brantford to Niagara, all over, it was a dream come true from a little kid from Brantford to be able to strap up for the black and gold. So thank you for all my supporters and all the fans that showed up time and time again. And I'm going to finish here with my family. Thank you. They're all here tonight. You guys are my foundation. You gave me the strength to chase this dream, and you gave me the roots to stay grounded. You sacrificed so much so that I could have this opportunity and share this moment with you all. You were there through every setback, every injury, and every doubt, and you never gave up on me, even when I wanted to give up on myself. To my parents, Greg and Kim, who never said no, you were my foundation through this all. The sacrifices that you and Mom made, Dad, to give me the greatest chance at achieving this goal will never be overlooked. You never asked for everything in return. It didn't matter how much it cost, how far we had to drive, or how cold it was. You were always willing and you were always there, and you made my career a priority. I'm forever grateful for you and Mom both, and I can still hear Mom banging that cowbell and screaming my name 20 rows up. So thank you, Mom and Dad. To my soon-to-be wife, Jen. Took me long enough, but we're getting there. You were my rock, my biggest supporter, my quiet strength through every high and low of this journey, and I've never had a proper opportunity to thank you for everything that you sacrificed for my career. Long before any applause or any recognition, you believed in me, and sometimes more than I believed in myself. You were the one that saw it all. You saw the long nights, all the doubt, the missed family events, the injuries, the heartbreaks, and of course the dreaded contract negotiations. But you stayed by my side. You stood beside me, not behind me. You encouraged me, you challenged me, and you reminded me of who I am when I started to forget. But of all that, most importantly, you gave me the greatest gift of all, my son Dax and my daughter Millie. I could never imagine this life without you, and this moment is yours as much mine. So thank you for your love, your patience, and your belief in this dream. I'm standing here because you never gave up on me, and I love you. To my son Dax and my daughter Millie, and any young athlete in this room tonight, I want to leave you all with this last message. Never stop chasing your dreams. Greatness isn't just measured by touchdowns or goals scored or personal accolades or trophies or any of that. It's measured on how you treat people, how you lift up people, how you lead people, but most importantly, how you respond when life knocks you down. That's the most important thing that I can leave with you all tonight. I stand here and reflect on this recognition, not just for what I accomplished throughout my career, but most importantly for the people that got me here. I'm forever grateful for everybody in this room that supported me through this all and allowed me to chase my dream.
You're my village, my team, and my family, and I'm super honored and humbled to be inducted in the Brantford Sports Hall of Recognition. Thank you.
Just while they're having the photo there, Mike's part of one of my favorite trivia questions when you're having coffee with the boys. There's a long history of Brantford athletes that played for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So it doesn't matter who I'm sitting with, I will ask, who's the longest serving Brantford football player with the Hamilton Tiger Cats? And you obviously know now that it's Mike, but nobody ever got that. So just to refresh, Mike played 112 games. I believe he started 87 of them at center. Pudge Chandler was 104, and Big Gates Alan Moffat was 87. There's your top three. So there's a good trivia question for you at coffee. The second thing about Mike, it's hard to believe Mike was once 5 or 6 years old, but Dad Greg and Mom Kim were over with my wife Chris and myself, and we were having an afternoon beverage. So our daughter, who was a young teenager at the time, was seconded to go over and watch Mike. Now, when Mike was 5 or 6, I'm not sure, but I'm sure he was pretty close to 100 pounds already. He was bigger than most of the 8, 9, 10-year-olds. Anyway, about 15 minutes into her being over there, she calls over and says, Michael's missing. I said, Erica, how could you be missing Michael? I mean, he's not going anywhere far. Anyway, so I went over into the area, and I happened to see that the neighbor was Nuts, Kenny Nuttall, and Betty Ann. So I figured, I'll bet you they'll know where he is. And sure enough, Michael was in the backyard with Ken. Ken was always working on motorcycles or hot cars or whatever. So, Mike, you gave my daughter her first bit of babysitting trauma. Okay, our last inductee is a special circumstance. Jennifer Kirby is unable to be with us today. It's almost inexcusable why she's not here. She's about to give birth, and she's in Florida. I don't see as a coach why that is an excuse, but I guess it's going to fly. Anyway, I was the person who nominated Jennifer. The 20 years I sat on the committee, the Sport Induction Committee, we weren't allowed to nominate people. So once I was finished, I started deciding that there were a lot of people in this community that needed to be recognized that weren't getting nominated because their family is not going to do it usually, and their friends probably, don't think about it. But anyway, so nominated Jennifer. Now, if any of you play golf, which I'm sure a lot of you do, you'll appreciate some of the things that she did in a short period of time. You may have read Brian's article. After the last year of high school, before going to Alabama, she did something in amateur golf that has not been topped. She won the Ontario Junior, the Canadian Junior, the Ontario Amateur, which is all ages, the Canadian Amateur, the Toronto Ladies Invitational, which had a lot of top players from all over, and her first professional tournament, Canadian tournament in Quebec. And that was all in about a 6-week period. So when you go out there and get your double bogey and you get ticked, or you can't count and you put a 7 down instead of an 8, you can probably appreciate that's legendary in Canadian golf, like absolutely legendary. Now, she had a very short career in amateur golf because she went on to the NCAA 4 years at Alabama, where they won a team championship. She won a couple individual honors, and then 3 years on the LPGA. Now, she comes from a sporting family. Brother Pat went to the NCAA college in South Carolina. Father Ken left home after probably grade 10 from Paris High School and was a goalie with the Sudbury Wolves. Played with Randy Carlisle and one of the Hunter boys, et cetera, So they changed their life when Jennifer was coming out of grade 10 because she left Paris High School as well. And she went to live in Florida, and she was I guess you'd call it academy now, and she was under the tutelage of Sean Foley. Sean Foley later coached many PGA guys, including Tiger Woods, for a little while. In fact, I think he introduced Tiger to IHOP, from what I've heard. But anyway, that's for another story. Anyway, Jennifer sent me a message this morning because we were unsure if parents would be able to be here because obviously they're going to fly to Florida to be with their child as soon as she goes into labor. So she sent me this, and she asked me if I would look after saying thank you for her, and so it'll be my honor to do this. Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I want to say how incredibly grateful I am to be receiving this honor. It's truly a bittersweet moment, not being able to be there in person. I would like to extend a heartfelt congratulations to all of the other inductees. Your accomplishments are remarkable, and it's a privilege to be recognized alongside each of you. Being included in this group of outstanding athletes and contributors from the Brantford area is deeply humbling. For me, this award is more than just a recognition of achievements, it's a moment of reflection. As athletes, we're constantly pushing toward the next goal, the next challenge. Rarely do we take a moment to look back. This honor has given me the gift of pausing, of appreciating the journey, and understanding the significance of the steps that led me here. Brant County has always been home, and I've always been proud to say that growing up, I tried just about every sport you can think of, but nothing truly stuck until I discovered golf. It wasn't planned. It happened naturally. We lived backing onto the Oaks of St. George, and I'd sneak out at dusk to hit a few shots or search for lost golf balls long before I had any idea what the game would come to mean in my life. Not long after, thanks to my parents, I found myself at Brantford Golf and Country Club, where my love for the game really took root. I spent endless hours on the practice areas, dreaming about the future and wondering just how far this game would take me. Some of my favorite memories are of walking up the 18th fairway at sunset, completely in the moment, focused only on improving. I drew so much inspiration from the incredible athletes who paved the way before me, especially David Hearn and Elena Sharp, two phenomenal golfers who also called our club home and went on to compete at the highest level. What's always stayed with me is the love and support I felt from the people of Brantford and the surrounding community. Their belief in me meant everything. It gave me a sense of purpose. I wanted to make them proud and make my country proud too. There are countless people who supported me on this journey, and I would be remiss not to mention them. To my brother Patrick, who introduced me to the game, thank you for your endless support and caddying for me some of my biggest and most memorable moments. I will always treasure the time we spent together on the course, playing and competing. To Golf Canada, thank you for the 13 incredible years and for building a foundation that helped launch my career. The staff, the programs, the guidance, everything you provided played a crucial role in my development. To Sean Foley, who I started working with at just 13 years old, thank you for believing in me. You weren't just a coach, you were an example of excellence, climbing your own ladder in the world of coaching while lifting others like me along the way. To my coaches at Alabama, Mick Potter and Susan Rosenthal, thank you for pushing me to be better, for creating an elite training environment, and for giving me some of the best years of my life on and off the course. And to all the many mentors, teammates, competitors, and friends who helped shape me, thank you. But the biggest thank you, without question, is reserved for my parents. Passion can't be manufactured. It has to come from within. But what my parents did was make it possible for that passion to grow, thrive, and lead me to where I am today. My parents provided me with every opportunity imaginable for me to chase my dreams, from researching junior tournaments, finding the best instructors in the province, learning the college recruiting landscape, uprooting their lives to move to Florida with me during high school winters. They did it all. and they never once hesitated. We logged thousands of miles together by road, by air, going to tournaments, lessons, fittings, most of which were the most remote locations, but it was all part of the experience. Some of my most cherished memories didn't happen on the golf course, but from those shared moments with them. Their unconditional support, their love is what made everything possible. I could spend hours talking about the countless sacrifices they made to help me reach the highest level of this game, but I've been told there's a time limit on this speech. But to sum it up, I'll just say, every lesson I've learned, every experience I've had, and every achievement I've celebrated through golf, none of it happens without them. That's something I will never forget. As I sit here and reflect on this honor, I hope it serves as a reminder of what this great game can give you. Golf is more than a sport. It teaches resilience, perseverance, humility. It shows you how to learn from failure and how to show up every day trying to be a little bit better than the day before. As a young girl from Paris, Ontario, I could never have imagined where golf would take me. If this moment, this recognition, inspires even one young athlete to chase their dreams, then it means more than I could ever put into words. In closing, this honor just isn't about what I've done, it's about where I've come from, and I'll always be proud of that. Thank you for celebrating that with me tonight. I'm proud to forever be part of Brantford's rich sporting legacy. And I'd like to invite Mother Sandra to come up and receive the plaque from Kim. You can understand why Sandra wasn't going to read this. I'd like to invite Aaron Carpenter, who I referred to as Captain Canada, to the podium to welcome the new members into the Sports Hall.
A huge honor for me to welcome the inducted members into the Sports Hall. From my own experience being inducted into the Sports Hall, was an amazing experience, and as we've heard from all the speeches tonight, it's the stories behind what happens. It's the support from family and friends that really help lead us to the success that we get to. So I'd just like us to take a minute. I'm going to pull up my notes here, and then welcome Scott. Brian, you're still telling the story. It's about you now, man. You're part of this. You're a big deal, man. And you told my story. You told a lot of people's stories in this audience. So welcome to the club. It's an honor to be along with you up there. Liz, Suzanne, Mike, welcome, and Jennifer Care of Roth there. Welcome to the Sports Hall. It's our heroes are up there, and that's we need to display them for the younger generation to be able to see it. I think Liz said it. The reason, what it means to me is I can take my kids to the Sports Hall and actually prove to them that I was somebody special. I was kind of a big deal. And they can see the display there that's up, and it shows that I had my moment, and you all got to have the moment tonight, and it was exciting to hear your stories because it brought back to me my own journey through sport and what it's given me in life. I have coaches here, Mr. Giancola, Mickey's here, Bob not here, but the people that really gave me that support and saw something within me, and I think you can all understand you've had that journey yourself. So welcome to the hall. I will try and be short here. Just that this city has an amazing sporting history, and it's only appropriate for us to celebrate it, and that's what this hall does. We have a place where we can go visit, and we can see the excellence that some of our greatest athletes have accomplished. and it becomes a goal for the younger generation in order to aspire to. So again, welcome to the group. I hope you enjoy your evening, and I thank you for allowing me to speak and relive some of the moments of my past. But thank you very much.
I'd like to invite Lisa Campbell, the Alliance Board Vice Chair.
So volunteerism is the voice of the people put into action. These actions shape and mold the present into a future we can all be proud of. That's a quote from Helen Dyer. I would like to thank Ron Jamula for his many years on the selection committee. His voice on that committee helped choose many deserving persons who are now in the sports hall. Thank you for your dedication to sports in the Brantford area. So on behalf of the Sports Hall Alliance, thank you to Ron for his volunteering on that committee.
I'd like to apologize on Ron's behalf because Pat Woodburn at the back and myself, we coached with Ron for 8 years after we retired from our respective schools, and Ron probably got the wrong date. That brings us to all the final comments. I'd like to thank the Sports Hall Committee and staff for their dedication and commitment to the Sports Hall. We had a great crew here tonight, and you can just imagine the amount of communication that goes on between the athletes, the nominators, and everything that has to do with putting tonight together. I'd like to thank the Rogers TV for filming tonight's induction ceremonies. Dean Ellis, our official photographer. Natasha Campbell and her staff from the Best Western. Our main ongoing sponsors, Cowan Foundation, Empire Communities, Ball Construction, Roger and Edith Davis Foundation, Tournament Capital of Ontario, Grant Mutual Insurance Company, Brantford Hotel Association, J.H. Young Jewelers, Neil and Jean Young and family. Josie, did you get a list of all those so we can recruit them for our nonprofit? I'd like to invite Kim Carpenter to the podium for her message from the chair.
Wow, big crowd tonight, and I'm not very tall. As we conclude this Sports Hall recognition ceremony tonight, I want to express my deep thanks on behalf of the Sports Hall Alliance to all of you for joining us. It was a great night celebrating sport. We are so proud to be able to recognize the accomplishment of our 2025 inductees and the honorees. And we thank you for your contributions to your chosen sport, to our communities at large, and for setting such a high standard for those who look up to you and to those who will follow you in whatever sport they choose. So a big congratulations. And I want to do a few thank yous. I want to thank all the Sports Hall Alliance members, with a special shout out to the Induction Committee and all the volunteers who have worked to make this event such a great success tonight. Your efforts are sincerely appreciated. So thank you, Trudy and team. I also have bright lights in my eyes. I know you're over there somewhere. I want to thank the selection committee because they have a very difficult job of choosing tonight's inductees and honorees. There are often many, many applications that arrive, and you saw tonight there were 6 out of that group. So thank you for that. It can't be easy. I also want to thank the City of Brantford for your support of the Sports Hall, and in particular, a big thank you to our Alliance City Representative, who is Mike Mansfield. We've had outstanding support, so thank you. Thank you, Ross. Ross is a 2021 honoree, Builder Basketball, and we want to thank you for another great job as our Master of Ceremonies. So thank you. And to you, our audience, Thank you for your support and for your enthusiasm. Your presence here tonight is a testament to the passion that we all share for sport. I do have some other exciting news to share tonight. The unveiling of the long-awaited Olympian, Paralympian, and Special Olympian display will be held on July 9th from 6 to 7 at the Sports Hall located at the Wayne Gretzky Sports Center. We would love to see as many of you as we could at that date and time to celebrate that new display with us. Also, if you know of an athlete or a builder or a team who deserves to be in the Sports Hall, please submit your nominations. Applications are available on our website, BrantfordAreaSportsHall.ca, nominations. Deadline is September 1, 2025, to be considered for the class of 2026. So that's it for me for thank yous, other than please stop by the Wayne Gretzky Sports Center and visit the Sports Hall, view the displays and the artifacts of our new and current inductees, and continue to be inspired as we support our athletes and promote the spirit of sport across our communities. Thank you. Ross has a few last reminders.
My papers.
Damn thieves. All right, just a few cleanup things here. All the new inductees, you're asked to go to that back wall to the photo area with the trophy, and that's immediately after I'm done with what I'm doing. The Alliance board members will go to the photo area following the ceremony for an official photo as well. I'd like to thank everybody for attending the sport induction ceremony.